the cornerstones of greatness. Needs for the birth of civilization. Throughout history, awe-inspiring civilizations have risen and left behind legacies and that continue to shape our world. From the intricate social structures of the Incas to the enduring influence of Roman law, these societies weren't born by accident. They emerged from environments that nurtured specific needs, acting as the cornerstones upon which complex social structures were built. 1. First need of the livelihood is water. Even before the food production, access to reliable source of fresh water is a fundamental need for any civilization. Water sustains life and its availability dictates where settlements can flourish. Ancient Egypt's dependence on the Nile River's annual floods is a prime example. The Mesopotamian civilization thrived between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, with complex irrigation systems ensuring a steady water supply for agriculture and drinking. Without readily available fresh water, large populations simply cannot exist. So, especially in uh, even the modern generation of civilization that we have technology, water is a main specific need for society and for civilization. During that time, the society, the area, the land that was without any water and the river, they were the bad place for making a civilization, and the majority of civilization of ancient and medieval era based on the water. But in case of us, in case of Quran, the civilization of Islam that made up and birthed in Medina, in Taif, and after that in Mecca, they were in the society and the land that was without water, that was dry. Second, the threads of the bind is the language. The communication is the cornerstone of any society, and language serves as the essential thread that binds a civilization together. A shared language allows for the transmission of ideas, the formation of laws, and the fostering of a sense of community. The development of hieroglyphs in ancient Egypt and cuneiform in Mesopotamia facilitated complex record keeping, administration, and the transformation of a knowledge across generations. The rise of Koine Greek is in the Hellenistic world created a common language for trade and cultural exchange across a vast region. A shared language fosters unity and lays the foundation for a civilization legal, literary, and philosophical development. So, in case of Quran, in case of the Islam that we use, the language of them, the language of backward tribes that used in the area for just Arabs in Yemen and Arabs in Syria. There was no big society in speak of Arabic. The accent and the language that they spoke, the language of the Mecca and the accent of Quraysh and Hijaz, the tribe of Quraysh and the area of Hijaz. In this case, we must know that this is from a weak ethnicity, not like strong ethnicity like Turks or Mongols during that time. But was a ethnicity with a weak language and in an era of the poem. They were in specialists in poem. The only art that they had were the poem. Poem was the hobby and art of them during the gatherings and the things that they try say together. So first we have the language of backward tribes of weak ethnicity, and we have the many poets in this language and many audience for this language, that they were good at it and only art that they had. Third, a guiding light, system of belief and common values. Shared beliefs, values, and a common way of thinking provide the moral compass for a civilization. This can take the form of a religion, a philosophical school, or a set of deeply ingrained cultural values. In ancient Egypt, the belief in a divine pharaoh and a complex pantheon of gods unified the population and provided framework for social order. Confucianism in China laid the foundation for social harmony, filial piety, and respect and for authority, shaping Chinese society for the centuries. A shared belief system fosters social cohesion, provides a sense of purpose, and guides a civilization moral compass. So in this case we have Quran and we have Islam. But before Islam we must know they were pagan in where they were, how they were. They claim that we are the followers of the Abraham or Ibrahim, peace be upon him, but in fact they became pagan and they were not really united by this religion. They have traits, they have sacrifice and some religious acts for this religion, but in the area there was population of Christians, population of Jews in the Medina, not in the Mecca, and in the Mecca was only a pagan system. That is hard for birth of the system of monotheism. They had many gods. They believed that God have some angels, that they are daughters of him, and they were the idol worshipper and heathens. 4. Expressions of faith, religion, or philosophical school. While closely linked to shared beliefs, a formal religion or philosophical school often provides a more structured and elaborate expression of a civilization core values. Christianity played a central role in the development of medieval European societies, shaping arts, architecture, and social structure. Hinduism and Buddhism have profoundly influenced Indian and Southeast Asian cultures for millennia, providing frameworks for social order, artistic expression, and spiritual life. Religion or philosophy offers a set, ritual, doctrines, and moral codes that further bind a civilization together and provide meaning to its existence. For example, in modern age, we have philosophies and the compounds of the thinkings of people come across as a ism, as a way to thinking. For example, in the capitalist and liberalist civilization, we have Christianity and liberalism and capitalism and many other things. In fascist and Nazist civilization that was a main thing to provide and rise of them. The communist bloc that existed for many years was accord to communism, and now we have three really big and complete civilizations: the West with United States of America, the Russian group with head of Federation of Russia, and Chinese group with China, the mainland of China. And three of them have the specific things: the nationalism, mainly for Russia, the nationalist communist party for China, and the nationalist capitalist party for the United States of America. And now we see the case of the people in the area and the era of the Hijaz and beginning of Islam. They were no really powerful philosophers. They had no philosophy. They had some point of religion, and they weren't main in that. In Mecca, that was only one basic religion, the shirk or the Hanafi that they claim, but in the reality they weren't monotheists. So we face an encounter with a society without any strong religion and a strong philosophy. 5. The tools for progress necessary in knowledge. Beyond basic survival, a civilization needs a foundation of necessary knowledge to prosper. This includes advancements in agriculture, engineering, mathematics, and medicine. The Egyptians developed sophisticated mathematical and astronomical knowledge essential for pyramid construction and calendar creation. The Greeks made significant contributions to mathematics, geometry, and medicine, laying on the groundwork for scientific advancement in the West. The development of essential knowledge allows a civilization to solve problems, make technical leaps, and improve the lives of its citizens. So we need a necessary knowledge about the war, about the ruling, about the law, about the mathematics, about the medicine, about everything that they need. So we must know the area and the era that they exist. Only 10 people, 17 people only had the knowledge of literacy. Just many people don't have any good knowledge in their language about writing and reading. How this era, without any learning, without any thinking, became the most developed country, most developed civilization for many years before the Renaissance. It's the question. 6. The guiding hand, system of ruling. A well-defined system of ruling is crucial for maintaining order, managing resources, and ensuring the smooth functioning of a complex society. Early civilization experimented with different forms of government, from the theocracy of ancient Egypt to the republic system of Rome. The development of a legal code, a bureaucracy, and a system of taxation allows for the allocation of resources, the enforcement of laws, and the protection of citizens. A stable system of ruling fosters social cohesion and paves the way for long-term growth. So in this case, we must see how the society of Mecca was and society of Medina was. Both of them, before Islam, they had no real government. They have big sheikhs or big tribal chiefs, but in fact they had no real law that dedicate laws and people to protect the deals, and they were just some tribes, and these tribes even attacking each other with hatred and revenge and vengeance against each other. 7. The tapestry of life, culture. Culture encompasses a civilization's art, music, literature, customs, and traditions. It is the vibrant tapestry woven from the threads of shared history, beliefs, and values. Egyptian art and hierologic hieroglyphic writing expressed their religious beliefs and commemorated their pharaohs. Greek theater and philosophy explored human nature and the pursuit of knowledge. A rich and diverse culture fosters a sense of identity, attracts outsiders, and leaves an enduring legacy for future generations. In this case, I said that, but I say it again for you. They were in the backward society that the culture of them just was poem. They were specialists in poem and wasn't even the poems on the books. There were no book in the area of them. There were no theater. There were no philosophy. There were no sophisticated religious books and like holy books in the pagan Mecca. So we have the desert of the culture in this case for the area of Islam. And that better I say the area that Islam came from. 8. The shield and sword, power of defense from attacks and rebellion. The ability to defend itself from external threats and internal rebellions is essential for any civilization survival. The development of a strong military, effective fortification, and a well-organized defense system is crucial. The Roman religions were a key. So, in this case, we must know they weren't good fighters. They attacked many years before the rising of Islam to Sassanid Persian Empire, and they faced with big humiliation. After that, one big ruler from outside with elephants tried to conquer Mecca to achieve the holiness of the pilgrims of Mecca and achieve the money and the population and the tourism from that. But everybody move around and move out from the Mecca. They weren't real fighters unless Islam came from and teach them how to fight. Number 9. The bedrock. The reliable food production. The most fundamental need for any civilization is a secure and predictable food supply. This forms the foundation upon which all else is built. Consider ancient Egypt, where the annual floods of the Nile River deposited fertile seed, creating a natural breadstick and breadbasket that allowed for bountiful harvests and a bargaining population. Similarly, the Mesopotamian civilization flourished between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers with complex irrigation systems, ensuring reliable crop yields. Without this dependable source of sustenance, a large-scale society simply couldn't exist. So in this case, we have the desert of the Mecca and desert of the Hijaz. They were dairy product maker, but in fact, they have no farming area in the case of the giving many foods for a civilization, unless Islam came and says and make many gardens for them to take fruits from them. 10. Beyond the farm, resource availability. While food is paramount, access to other natural resources is equally important. These resources fuel not just survival but also innovation and trade. The Indus Valley civilization of India thrived due to its proximity to vital materials like copper and cotton, fostering the development of metallurgy and textile production. The Greeks, with access to abundant timber for shipbuilding, became a dominant maritime power in the Mediterranean. The Soviet Union's vast reserves of natural resources, from oil to iron ore, fueled its rapid industrialization in the 20th century. A civilization access to resources shapes its economic potential and its place on the global stage. So in this case, there are no big mines in the Hejaz unless the modern age come, and so maybe in some way they had access to some mines, but they had no cotton, they had no shipment, and they had no ships on the surface of the sea, and they were poor. 11. Bricks and mortar. Social cohesion. Building a big civilization requires a high degree of social organization. A society literally bricked together, strong leadership, a shared belief system, and a sense of collective identity are essential for mobilizing large numbers of people for complex projects. In ancient Egypt, the pharaoh served as god king, uniting the population under a single powerful authority. Roman law and civic virtue fostered a sense of shared purpose within the vast empire, allowing for the construction of the roads and aqueduct and other monumental structures. Without social cohesion, large-scale projects and societal advancements become nearly impossible. In this case, we must know that they were many tribes, and they were fighting each other for many years. They had many hatred about each other. Two main tribes of the Medina or Taif were fighting for decades of years, and the hatred have they before Islam. And Islam came and make these tribes together as a one nation of Muslims. 12. Beyond survival, innovation and specialization. Civilization don't simply grow, they evolve through innovation. The ability to develop new technologies and adapt to changing circumstances is crucial for long-term success. The Egyptians pioneered pyramids constructions techniques, a testament to their engineering ingenuity. The Chinese invented paper-making, revolutionizing communication and record-keeping. The Greeks made groundbreaking advances in mathematics, philosophy, and science, laying the foundation for Western intellectual taught, specialization of professions from engineering to artisans also fuel innovation by allowing individuals to focus on specific skills and contribute to advancements in their fields. So we must ask how was the specialization and innovation in that era and area. They were really backward, they had no big invention, and they had no book before Islam. It's a simple fact because there is no evidence that they had anything stronger than some poems. And poems even that protected during the history because of Islam protected, because Islam came on, and because of the knowledge researching about the language to understanding Quran, they gathering the poems before Islam. '13. A global village, trade and exchange. Isolation hinders growth, trade with neighboring societies stimulates economics, introduces and new ideas and fosters culture exchange. The network of trade routes that crossed the Mediterranean Sea during the Roman era exemplifies this. Goods, knowledge, and even artistic styles flowed freely in cheering both Roman and foreign cultures. Similarity, the Silk Road for centuries facilitated the exchange of goods and ideas between China and the West, leading to significant cultural and technological cross-pollination. Trade not for only fuels economic prosperity but also broadens a civilization's worldview. In this case, the Hejaz was the road between Yemen civilization and the Roman and Sassanid Persian civilization, but they were not big part of the Silk Road. They had no port for shipping, and they were just some tribes in caravans from each other, came from Arab speaking areas in Yemen to Arab speaking areas in Iran of that time and Turkey or Greece of that time. 15th, a mind open change, adaptability. Stagnant societies rarely become great civilization. The ability to adapt and incorporate new ideas is crucial for long-term survival. The Roman Republic's evolution into a flexible and adaptable empire demonstrates this principle conversely. The Roman Republic's evolution into a flexible and adaptable empire demonstrates this principle conversely. The Soviet Union's rigid ideology, resistance to change, ultimately contributed to its downfall. Civilizations that embrace new knowledge, technologies, and social structures are more likely to weather challenges and thrive in a constantly changing world. In this case, we must know that the society of that era wasn't accepting for strong religions of Christians and Jews, and they were in the backward tribe of on that age, and they in Mecca they didn't accept Islam, and the Prophet came to Medina or Taif, and after the revolution of them, the brotherhood deals, they become brothers of each other, and the civilization came up from. Conclusion: the birth of every great civilization can be traced back to a confluence of essential needs, from the ability to feed a population to the fostering of innovation and the willingness to embrace change. These factors create the fertile ground from which complex societies can flourish. Understanding these fundamental needs allows us to appreciate the remarkable achievements of the past and may even offer insights into the potential rise of future if civilization on the world stage. For many and other things that I mentioned, many other needs exist, but I don't mention them. For example, art or literature that exists in every rising civilization and progressive civilization during that time, but they had only poem and they were specific, strong in poem, not any other things. They had no any handworks and hand arts from that age. The system of law is a big need, and they had no law, and the Islam came and teach them the system of law that existed for his 1400 years. The way of the ruling before Islam didn't exist for them, but the ways that the people interpret from Islam, and with in these interpretations they make Khilafah, they make Islamic kingdoms, Islamic emirates, Islamic theocracy, Islamic republics, Islamic democracies, and Vilayat Faqih, and militarizing Islamic rulings, and many other things that existed for 1400 years. Any other things is population. They had a population, but they weren't big population. And infrastructure of buildings. They had no architecture and ability to building during that time before the Islam. And architecture is a need, but they had no experience in that. They had no strong currency or money. And the reading and writing in this area, that is a need, but they had only 17 people that came in this list in the age that Islam came and start to express the revelation for them. And the available land and livable weather is a case, but they had a dry desert in Mecca. So after all of that, we see there was a desert, but after Islam, without any water, without any food, without any population, without any structure, without any buildings, without any art, without any philosophy, one complete big society came out and big civilization came out. But in the next seasons of this book, you will see how was big this civilization, or better I say, the chain of civilizations of Islam.